West, so like France, Britain and America, they purposely wanted like a nation of Israel, like a state there, like for the Jewish people to live and reside.
That's the problem with the media, because it's been going on for about 70 years. Palestinians have never had control over their own land. But the way the media's framed it, they've made it seem like this conflict started on October the 7th when Hamas, and that's where people see it as like, this has just happened, this has come to like, well no, it's been happening for 70 years. Like, the oppression that the Palestinian people have faced by the hands of Israel has been happening for 70 years.
It's like that saying, like, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter.
Exactly.
If someone's bullying you for decades, and then now they're saying, oh yeah, let's live in peace, you're gonna you like.
This isn't a war, like this isn't a conflict. This is literally, this is bullying. This is one massive nation bullying a small group of people. Like bro, you'll see them online and anything that I see online to do with Palestinians is just them dying.
Israeli Jews are making sure that they're getting rid of like the native population.
Basically, there was a black lady and she was demanding a refund for a product. Her shop owner was like no, and she was insisting and he said no. Boss man grabbed her and then she started hitting him with a basket, and he then, proceeded to choke her. And he was a big guy!
That was a big man. And you can see like the anger and the way he was squeezing her. That was mad.
Nah, he needs to be locked up.
He needs to be locked up.
He's an animal.
If it was a white woman, would the anger, like, would you have been that angry about that? Another important question is, maybe if it was a white woman, who knows, that could have made like national news, like.
Welcome to Philosophy, the critical thinking podcast. I'm Estelle.
I'm Adrian.
I'm Ike.
And the three of us are just friends. We've been friends for a long time, and we started this podcast as our way of just basically like creating dialogue about current affairs, social issues, politics, all of that fun stuff, but especially from like a lens where we're thinking critically about everything basically. Does anyone want to talk more about what we're doing?
Yeah, obviously we're going to cover some serious topics at times, but it's also going to be quite light-hearted topics as well. So we're going to give you like a nice blend, coming from like Estelle said, a critical lens. So not really like taking one side or the other, but considering both sides. Sometimes. As we get to talk later, there's some issues where maybe you can't really take both sides, but we'll try to do that for most of the time.
Yeah, it's like intellectual conversations with a hint of like, just laid back freedom, just personal opinion, not taking things too seriously, but at the same time, discussing what's important. And we know each other for a long time since secondary school. We go way back, and it was just a thing where we were always talking with each other, and we were like, you know what, this would actually like slap so much in a podcast, the way this like conversation is going, like the quality of it is like, like the world needs to hear us, man.
Yeah.
They need to hear us, man. Like, we're preaching, we're spitting, like, so it's just important.
No, yeah, definitely. Like every time we're together, we always like get into like really deep, juicy discussions about world affairs and stuff, and like we just felt like it was only right to share 100%. Our knowledge with you guys and to share our insight, and especially like being from South, so we're all from South London, and we feel like growing up in South London, it's really easy to like have an echo chamber around you, like, and everyone's sort of thinking one way, and we feel like we like to come at things from a more critical viewpoint and like really explore like the nuances of an issue rather than just like the general view that everyone's saying, the consensus basically. So that's sort of why we're having this podcast, and that's why we're calling it Philosophy, because obviously philosophy and the three of us, and it's called philosophy because even though we're not necessarily like philosophy students or academics or whatever, we think about things in a very philosophical way.
Challenge the status quo.
Basically, challenging stuff, and really thinking about things on a deeper level, and also thinking about how fair things are, how just things are, thinking about the ethics of things rather than just jumping on the bandwagon, basically.
I guess let's get into talking about us really.
Yeah.
You guys have to get to know us. So guys, we've alluded to it before, we've been friends at secondary school. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, guys.
Yeah, so we all went to a school called Sacred Heart in Camberwell, South London. Basically, I would say Peckham, near Peckham.
Near Peckham.
Because people who are from South won't know Camberwell, innit? So we went to a school near Peckham.
Like, Giggs went to our school. couple guys.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, not Asian name dropping. But yeah, no, gigs went to our school.
No, but Sacred Heart's like Southwark heritage though. Like, like Southwark Heart, like Sacred Heart, like it means something.
It means like, it needs to be
like
respected.
you wore that badge with pride.
Yeah,
you know what
bro.
I'm saying? Like, it's not a big deal. Like, it's a heavy badge to like carry on.
Heavy burden.
You fought the weight of it. Like, you fought
the history.
Exactly, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, can't be playing about with something like that, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big deal.
But for me, I felt like we really got closer. Like we got closer when we all three of us entered the sixth form.
Yeah, 100%.
I felt like we got really
At
close.
17.
I felt like we got really close after sixth form, you know. Well, that's when I felt like, oh, we're actually like.
We're not just school friends.
Yeah, we're not just school
Because we
friends.
stayed in contact with each other, so like
yeah.
obviously, you know, we were all in different unis. I was at Kent, Estelle was in Leeds, Aki was in Loughborough, so like, you know, in uni it's so easy to just fizzle out with like relationships and friendships because like, you know, nothing's like holding you guys together, nothing's tying you guys together. Whereas with us lot, it's like, you know, we had our thing going on from like sixth form and we like kind of appreciated the time that we spent together. We're like, you know what, like this is like meaningful because we're venting to each other, like we're talking like some serious shit and we're also having fun, we're getting lit, this, that and the other. So, you know, we still made sure that we see each other. So that's how we knew it was real, like from that point on.
We studied similar subjects as well.
Exactly.
We all did history, me and Adrian did politics.
Okay.
So like I feel like we found like common ground then, and we started to realise that we have a lot of common ground, and then obviously we're all jokers as well, so that came into part of it. We're all very funny people, so yeah.
If we say so ourselves.
Yeah, if we say so,
I mean, you guys can be the judges.
exactly.
You know?
You guys will judge us how it goes along. Bro.
But we make each other laugh, so
Yeah.
that's the most important thing. But yeah, no, like I said, we did history together, history A level, and I feel like that's when we really saw like how similar we thought. Like, you know, we did like, especially like in year 12, we did like communist history, so we looked at like Russia and like Mao Zedong,
Shout out to Mao.
and yeah, so like all of that stuff. So we
Foot binding and that.
no one's gonna know what you're talking about, but yeah. I mean, you guys can look up foot binding.
If you know, if you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
That's it, if you know, you didn't even say it right.
But yeah, so that's when we were like, oh yeah, like. That's how I realized these guys are smart, man. They're onto something. So yeah, I think from there we just became close, and I think like these guys said, when you leave secondary school and you still manage to maintain a friendship, or sixth form, sorry, and you go to uni all in different cities, but every time you come back to London, you still manage to link up and make time for each other. I think that really shows like, oh wow, like, you know, your friendship's actually quite solid. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's how we realized that we were really close. But yeah, just more about ourselves actually, because we haven't even talked about who we are as people, what we do, where we're from, what countries and whatever.
I mean, I'm Adrian and I'm Albanian and Colombian. I'm Muslim and Catholic. Half and half. And,
bro, are you really?
And I work in housing, innit? So, yeah, get to know, that's what I do right now, and that's a bit about me. But I can't lie, like, I feel like for me personally, where I'm from is like my personality trait. Like, I love, like, I don't know, man.
It's so
I love being a mix, innit? Like,
so different. I know Adrian loves when people ask you, where are you from?
100%.
You know Adrian, what I clocks here, whenever he gets asked that question, he was like, oh, guess.
Yeah.
It's his whole personality.
I say guess, I want to make it a game, man.
You will never know.
Yeah, because I know you will never guess, so it's like, yeah, come, like, let's have some fun, man. You know, why not? Oh, I can know you so well. The fact that you said that, it's crazy.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Literally, bro. Literally.
Every time they have a baby, they're like, oh, baby, you know about baby, huh?
I love it, man. What can I say?
But yeah, what's it? So my name's Estelle, like I said. I'm Nigerian. I'm Igbo, to be specific. And yeah, I am...
Free my Afro.
You're so silly. Yeah, no, free my Afro still. But yeah, I'm a journalist. I just finished my master's in journalism, but I've just started working as a journalist. And yeah, that's pretty much me. And I'm a very proud Nigerian. Like Adrian's very proud of where he's from as well.
Well, yeah, I'm IK. If you're Nigerian, you'll realise that I'm Nigerian as well. I'm Edo. I work in marketing. I'm a marketing analyst. Yeah, cheers.
Analyst.
Yeah, man. I analyze the data. But yeah, what else did you guys say about yourself?
Just country and what we do, innit?
Yeah. I'm Nigerian. I'm a marketing data analyst. I'm a nice person. Yeah, that's enough for me.
Yeah, I'd like to think we're all nice people.
Yeah.
I say so.
Why do you have to say yeah?
Yeah, no, because like, we had like a little dispute before like we came here, innit?
Oh yeah, we had a little argument, guys. We had a little argument about lateness.
What, so you don't think...
What?
So you be still
No,
nice?
but we're still nice though. We're still nice to each other. Yeah.
We're best friends, but
What you trying to say?
we fall up. But
I wouldn't say fall out. I think
Nah, it's not that deep.
I think we express ourselves.
yeah.
And I think in any healthy friendship, you should express yourself.
No, 100%. Yeah.
I don't care to an amicable
Can't be
like,
suffering in silence.
an amicable ending. You know what I mean? Here we are recording our first episode. So it's
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, should we crack on with the topic?
Yeah, let's get
Not
into
much
it.
more to say about ourselves, really. But yeah, today we want to talk about. So basically, you'll notice, like going forward, that with our podcast, we like to ask big questions. So, look, you know, each episode we'll be dealing with like a big question, like a theme or whatever. So, this episode we want to talk about violence. We want to talk about, does violence warrant further violence? Does violence justify violence? And in analysing that question, we'll be talking about two different topics. We'll be talking about what's going on between Israel and Palestine and Hamas at the moment, the conflict there. And we'll also be talking about another conflict on a much, much smaller scale, but
Much smaller.
Much smaller scale. We're not comparing the two, we're not saying they're similar, but it's all that same idea of violence. And that's, for those of you, you know, who are from the UK and you know, or from London, the conflict between the black woman and the hair shop owner. And just talking about this like,
No, because like, I just remember what happened. Like,
we'll be analysing that and, you know, who was wrong, who was right, what was just, what was
pause. You're probably wondering how I got here.
we need to put a picture of the thing from people.
It's not funny though, because violence against black women is not funny.
Especially to women.
The actual violence in itself is not funny. It's just, Anyways, so just to get into the topic of, you know, Israel and Hamas, right? We want to talk about basically, like, you know, what actions are justified in the whole conflict, and obviously there's a whole history behind the issue. So we want to talk about the history as well, because we feel like it's only fair to give the context. We don't want to just dive in and, you know, miss out the whole history. So,
and plus, not everybody's privy to the history. So if you're not privy to the history, you need to do your own research. Yeah. But I mean, on the Critical Thinking podcast, we'll give you the history.
We'll do it for you.
We'll give you the background.
Because obviously it's a thing where obviously you're seeing what's going on. You know, you're seeing what's like being posted on Insta, on Twitter, and all the social media. But like, you don't know where. You know, where it's coming from and stuff like that doesn't get explained. Like, there's so much more to the story than meets the eye. Obviously, from a humanitarian level, we see what's going on, and obviously it's awful. But you know, all of this is happening for a reason, and that's what we're here for. You know, we're gonna dive deep in.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
All right, cool. Who wants to take it away? Do you want to give us the history lesson, Angel?
Yeah.
I mean, alright, cool. Yeah. So like, for example, it all stems from the fact that like the Israeli Jews and the way they feel, they're coming from like a insecure point of view, because the country was handed over to them like in the 60s, because originally before that it was Palestine, and the majority of the people that were there were like Palestinian Muslims. But the thing is, as a result of the Holocaust that happened, you know, if you guys don't know, 6 million Jews died during like the period of like World War II and prior. And so as a result, the West, so like France, Britain and America, they purposely wanted like a nation of Israel, like a state there, like for the Jewish people to live and reside, because there was none other like before that. So yeah, and obviously they've always been like persecuted throughout history. So in the 1960s, they decided to like, because the country was like in control of like, it was in British hands, they decided to like hand it over to the Israeli Jews, and they gave that. But obviously it wasn't fair, because 2/3 of the population were Palestinian Muslims. So obviously they weren't happy, they revolted, and ever since then there's been problems, because they've never been happy with the fact that like the way they've been treated and stuff. But like throughout time, you know, they've been like gone out as like refugees and stuff like that. Like DJ Khaled is a Palestinian, for example, but you know, he'll never make that known. But yeah, he's someone that resided as a refugee, and they're like the highest number of like refugees as well. That's the thing.
They were getting on to DJ Khaled online. I saw it.
Because it doesn't say anything in it. Yeah, it's true.
They'll say people are saying Kalani's more Palestinian than DJ Khaled.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, you know, if you don't know, don't say anything kind of thing. So he might not even be educated about it, innit? Because like,
but you don't have to be educated to.
You know what it is, yeah, like even I don't understand, like, even if you say something on social media, it doesn't really mean that he's done enough anyway. Because he might have not said anything on social media, but doing stuff in the background that we don't even know.
100%.
You know what I mean? So it's
we donate for all we know.
Exactly. But
yeah, no, I hear you, but I think it's also still important to speak out. I think because it sort of reminds me of, not to go too much on a tangent, but sort of reminds me of like the whole BLM sort of peak, I guess, during 2020 when after George Floyd got killed, and a lot of obviously black celebrities, you know, were keeping silent. Obviously, most of them were speaking out, but a lot weren't. And then people were like, "Oh, why are you speaking like you're African American?" You know. And then people were like, "Oh, yeah, but you don't know what I'm doing behind the scenes. I gave money to this place." And I feel like, yeah, obviously, you can do both though. Like, it's not behind the scenes or out there, like, or out loud. You can just do both, so everyone knows you're actually doing action and also speaking up. Because speaking up is important as well.
Yeah. Do you know what I don't like?
Do you know what
I don't like? I don't like the fact that like people are like, "Oh, why do I feel the need to say something? Why do I feel the need to raise a voice and this, that, and the other?" I'm not gonna lie, it's so messed up. Like, babies are dying, like children are dying.
Children are dying.
Listen, if like fuck race, fuck where you're from, this, that, and the other. If you genuinely like care about like the well-being of a human being, you gotta realize that what's going on right now is messed up. Like the fact that like, you know, people that haven't even experienced a life are dying is mad. And like, I think it's like 50% of the Palestinian population are like young and stuff as well. Like, come on, man, you gotta bear in mind that, you know, they've got, you know, they want to experience life too, same way we do. They have the right to do that also.
They're not even really experiencing life. They're being born into.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a trauma. I say conflict.
They're seeing like people getting blown apart. They're seeing their parents dying and shit as well. Like, that shit ain't right, man. Like, it just isn't. And obviously us because, you know, obviously us living in Britain, you know, we got a side of Israel. They're trying to indoctrinate us. They're trying to like, you know, make it seem like, yeah, like, you know, Israel, you know, that's what, you know, like, whatever the Palestinians are going through, you know, it's been happening for so long. And like, you know, no amount of brainwashing and indoctrination is going to happen, like, for me to be convinced and think otherwise. That's the thing.
That's the problem with the media, because it's been going on for about 70 years. Palestinians have never had control over their own land, because before it was given to Israel, it was the British mandate for Palestine.
Exactly,
and then Britain gave it. It was the Ottomans, then it was the British that owned it.
It's always been, then it was the Romans.
Exactly,
it's always been under like,
yeah, exactly.
You know.
So they've never actually owned their land, and literally the Jewish settlers will come in and literally take them out their houses. Like, I think they're the highest like displaced like group of people in the world, which is crazy. But the way the media's framed it, they've made it seem like this conflict started on October the 7th when Hamas did their madness in Israel, basically. And that's where people see it as like, this has just happened, this has come to like, well, no, this has been happening for 20 years. This has been happening for 70 years. Like, the oppression that the Palestinian people have faced by the hands of Israel has been happening for 70 years. And this has been co-signed by the West. As in, this has literally been, the West have literally enabled this to happen. So it's just,
It's like that saying, like, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter.
Exactly.
You know, at the end of the day, it's like, listen, like, obviously I don't condone any violence or any, you know, especially like, you know, all innocent life is equal, and obviously I'm not trying to say that what Hamas is doing is right, but like, how do you not expect them to rise up and like take action when, you know, imagine like one of them probably saw their parents getting blown up and killed and shit like that. You know, they're gonna think, you know what, fuck this, like, you know, I'm gonna retaliate, I'm gonna do something about it, because this is just getting out of hand. Like, how do you not expect them to do it when they're seeing like everything around them just getting bombed and just getting attacked? Because like, really and truly, they're getting ethnically cleansed. Yeah. They're getting moved out of the area, you know, they're expected to leave, and you know, if they leave, they can't come back. And the ones that are there, they're getting bombed, so it's just like, it's just mad.
Like, what's been happening in the Gaza, I've seen it been called like a conflict. I've seen it been called a religious war.
It's not a conflict.
It's not a religious war either. It's an ethnic cleansing. Like, that's literally what it is. It's the removal of literally a whole group of people, Palestinians, which is crazy. Like, even Gaza, yeah. I remember thinking about it, yeah, like how they call Gaza like
Gaza.
Got it, side.
Alright,
be serious, guys. Let's be serious. But you see how they call Gaza like the world's biggest open-air prison, but I mean, technically it's not even an open-air prison. Technically, it's a concentration camp. When you really think about it, because the people that live in Gaza, you can't call it a prison because they're not prisoners. They haven't done anything wrong. They're not criminals. Israel control all the food, the water, electricity.
Yeah, what's going on right now?
Israel bomb Gaza on a daily basis now, bro. That's a concentration camp. Like, literally, I remember I even saw a tweet. It was like if anybody wanted like to see how Nazi Germany was like in the 1940s without social media, literally what's happening in Israel is literally basically what happened in Nazi Germany.
Yeah, it's like that saying like I think it's like the abused become abusers.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like it's like there's so much hypocrisy in terms of what happened in like the 1940s, which of course was awful, and like literally the descendants of the people that went through that are now doing that as well. Like it's crazy. Like, it's so messed up.
I think that's what's so sad about this. Like Jews, obviously I know not all Jews are support.
Yeah, because some of them are even against.
Yeah, a lot of them are against
Israel.
Zionists Jews.
I feel like it's really important to make that distinction.
Yeah. It's mainly Zionist Jews that are obviously they support the Jewish occupation of Israel and the fact that they're controlling Palestine. So I just think it's sad that their ancestors experienced that at the hands of Nazi Germans, and they are now replicating that same oppression against a group of people. And to come to a country that, okay, cool, obviously on a religious level, when you bear in mind religious history, they obviously saw it as that their own entitlement, the Holy Land, right? Fair enough, cool, you saw it as your entitlement, but at the end of the day, your grandparents weren't there when you first came. Like, your grandparents were from Europe. So to come to a country and be like, yeah, this is ours now, and then now you basically force all of these people, like they literally massacred and like killed a lot of people in the surrounding areas of Palestine, forced them into Palestine, and then created basically a border where they can't leave.
If you ask a Palestinian Muslim where their grandparents are from, they're gonna say that they've lived in Palestine. Whereas if you ask the Israeli Jew where their grandparents are from, they're gonna be like Hungary, Poland, Russia, Ukraine, somewhere like Eastern Europe, most likely. But so it's not the same, man. Like like the Palestinian Muslims have been having history in the area, so like you can't expect them to just go now. Like the fact that they're just being obliterated and the whole world is just witnessing this is just so crazy to me. And there's so much hypocrisy, especially with the fact that like in Ukraine everyone's backing them because they were standing up for themselves and they weren't trying to allow themselves to get occupied by Russia. But like now, everything's just changing. It's just so messed up.
And even the way things like saying free Palestine automatically means apparently that you're anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Or calling for a ceasefire. Like calling for a ceasefire means you're anti-Semitic. That makes no sense. Because you're trying to they would say even Keir Starmer, the Labour leader, fuck Keir Starmer. Even he was like, if you call for a ceasefire, it gives Hamas the opportunity to basically start bombing again and doing that stuff. But bro,
ceasefire means
on both sides. And either way, the capabilities that Hamas have and the capabilities that the Israel government have is no way in comparison. And that's what we've seen. Let me be
controversial though, yeah? So Hamas want to make the land like a Muslim state, yeah? So that means that they want everything to go their way, and they don't want in terms of them living in harmony, they actually want a Muslim state. But Hamas was the most voted in party out of everything. So that goes to show the Palestinian mentality. So the Palestinians themselves, really and truly, well, in terms of majority wise, they don't want to live in harmony with the Israeli Jews. They want a Muslim state. What do you lot think about that?
But what would you expect, right? Of course that they'll feel like that, because at the end of the day, it's you've oppressed them for so long. So now to now basically expect them to want to live in harmony is unrealistic. Any human being, if someone's bullying you for decades, and then now they're saying, oh yeah, let's live in peace, you're gonna fuck you.
And one thing that's important to note, there was already the PLO as well, the Palestinian Liberation Organization.
Back in the 80s.
They wanted peaceful reconciliation with the Israel government. They actually kind of wanted it, but at the end of the day, that went nowhere. And Hamas are thinking, right, Jewish people have come to our land and they've literally displaced us. They've come and settled on our land at the expense of our people. They've literally moved our people out their house and they're all displaced now. So it's they're coming from the place where it's I don't even want you guys here. At the end of the day, this was our land first. You guys have come and displaced us. So whether it's right or wrong, that's the angle that they're coming from.
It depends though, innit? Because in the Bible, basically Israel was given over to what's his name? Abraham's descendants. But when they were talking about Abraham's descendants, they were talking about Isaac's side mainly. And Isaac's side is descendants of Jews. Yeah. And Jesus was a Jew. So at the end of the day, it's I get where you're coming from, but
And that's Israel's claim to the land.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When they say that, like, listen, this land belongs to us, it's coming from a religious point of view. Because at the end of the day, like when Galilee, Nazareth, Bethlehem, all these places was about, you know, it was known as Judea.
Yeah.
Like, Judea being full Jews. Like, at the end of the day, Judaism is the original religion in it. So I guess it all depends on what you believe in as well. But like, you know, Palestinians from a most recent point of view, they were the majority, like, in terms of being there. So yeah, man.
Yeah, it's such a complex topic, isn't it? Like, I don't know, like
it depends on all you believe in.
Yeah, I mean, if you put like religion over, I guess, history. Facts. Facts. Because obviously Palestinians in recent history have been living in that land, but Jews have a religious entitlement to that land. It depends on how you perceive it, but either way, regardless of your perception or what stance you have, I just think one thing that should not be subjective is you can't keep oppressing the people and basically embargo their land. Basically a blockade. You basically initiated a blockade on a whole piece of land. You control their electricity, their water. Like, you could starve them out if you wanted to. And that's literally what they're doing.
You can see the difference.
Also, I get that in the Bible, it kind of alludes to the fact that Israeli people are entitled to that land, but what's the Bible to a Muslim person? You know what I mean? Like, they don't know the Bible, so it's like, that has nothing to do with them. Like, obviously I'm Christian myself, but I feel like it's gone so far from a time where you can even link back to that now, because we don't live in a world that's fully governed by the Bible. We don't live in a world that's fully governed by Christianity. You know what I mean? So I don't feel like Israeli people can even claim the right to that land. And to be honest, like, if we're really talking about the reason that the Israelis were given that land, because I remember, Adrian, you were even saying before that the West, when they were trying to put the Jewish people in places, I know that part of the world, so Palestine was considered. I also think was it Uganda? There was another place.
Yeah, they were trying to see where they were gonna like.
Ecuador, isn't it?
Yeah, it was like Ecuador, Uganda, or Israel.
Exactly, and it's really, and when you think about why the West basically put them there or gave them like settlement there, is to give the West that stronghold in the Middle East. Yeah. Because other than Israel in the Middle East, the West have no friends. Like, they have no friends. Nobody's on their side. So having that partnership in the Middle East, that benefits the West as well. So we can also talk about it from a point of view where it's the West trying to maintain good relations with at least one country in the Middle East, and also white guilt in terms of what's happened to Jews, and with the stuff that we've alluded to, like the Holocaust and stuff like that.
And even like, so the other day, I think Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli leader, he made a speech basically on the vibe of like, you know, anyone who isn't supporting us, it means that they're in favor of Hamas, of terrorism, basically. It means that you're supporting Hamas, basically. And like, you know, all of this, he was spewing all this propaganda of like, you know, help us defeat these terrorists. They don't value human life.
The YouTube ads are mad.
It's like
we're seeing it everywhere, like even YouTube adverts, and like, bruv, it will be so casual. I don't know if you have seen that one where it's like they're playing like, you know, childish music and rainbows and pink shit, and like all of a sudden they're like, you know, oh my god, like so many Jewish children have died. All of a sudden, listen, we've got to rise up against
Hamas and ISIS and shit.
Exactly, and we've got to fucking rise up against them. We've got to kill them and shit like that. Like, don't blame us for protecting ourselves. I'm thinking, yo, fuck. You know?
but literally, Netanyahu's speech, I just think he was basically like,
he's proper right wing.
He's very conservative. He has no mercy. But on top of that, I just think he's forgetting. He's like, basically, you're waging a war on a group of people. It's literally like the UK waging a war on Newcastle. Now, I was talking to my brother about this, and he was like, it's literally like the UK waging a war on a little city within the UK and being like, this is a war. That's not a war, bro. That's an attack. Like, I'm so sorry. Even if Leeds were to attack the British government or whatever, were to attack London, you know, in the process of attacking the government, it's not the same. Like, the power dynamics are so unequal. Like, Israel has so much more power, a much stronger military, like a lot more wealth, obviously. So it's like
America backing.
Yeah, they've got America's backing. They've got the backing of the West. They've got all that funding. So it's like to equate and be like, oh yeah, we're just fighting a war because they don't understand us and, you know, they're terrorists. Like, it's not the same. You can't do that. And also, why should why should the millions pay for the actions of the few? Like, not all Palestinians are Hamas. And this whole concept of, we told them to get out so we can bomb Palestine and basically like starve out Hamas and all of that. The whole logic is messed up because you're killing so many innocent people in that process. That's not the way to look for terrorists, quote unquote terrorists.
And I feel like social media has played such a big part in like basically allowing people to see the truth like online. Like, this isn't a war, like this isn't a conflict. This is bullying. This is one massive nation bullying a small group of people. Like, you will see like the TikToks like the Israeli Defense League will make online. Like, people doing like TikTok trends, like they're showing themselves eating McDonald's or stuff like that. These are like Israeli soldiers or like bro, you'll see them online, and anything that I see online to do with Palestinians is just them dying. Like, literally having like small children in their hand going around. Like, it's mad.
Hamas will be in Gaza, but not even in West Bank. But West Bank will still end up getting bombed. Yeah. So it's like, it goes to show that they're still bombing areas where there's not even a major threat, but like they're trying to make a statement and trying to get rid of like the native population. Because now there's more Jews, Israeli Jews, than Palestinian Muslims, and that's there for a reason, because it wasn't originally like that in the 1960s when the state of Israel was given to them and was made originally. But now, you know, the tide is changing, and that's what happens with ethnic cleansings, because like the Israeli Jews are making sure that they're getting rid of like the native population. Yeah. It's just proper messed up.
And even talking about, you know, the living conditions in which people in Gaza are
no
living.
Electricity, no water, no nothing.
Like, not even just even before this conflict that began on the 7th of October, like, they've been living in poverty. They have one of the highest poverty rates in the world, one of the highest rates of unemployment, in the world. And they also have the highest density of living, which means they're literally all living on top of each other. I don't know if you guys have seen pictures of Gaza, but it's literally blocks, tower blocks upon tower blocks. Their population density is basically around that of London. But in some parts of Gaza, it's like almost like 10 times higher than London. So these people are living on top of each other. They don't have any jobs. They're not allowed to leave without, you know, being given permission. Like, there's people I remember my teacher told me about this boy in Gaza who needed like a heart transplant, and they weren't even trying to give him permission to leave Gaza and go to the West Bank in order to get what he needed and the medication he needed. And when they finally did give him a pass, they weren't trying to give any adults in his family the pass to go with him. So till this day, who knows what's happened?
And what's so crazy is that, like, I don't really see this ending in a good way unless Gaza and the Palestinians get support, and they're not gonna get any support from the West. Like, it needs to take other like Islamic states to actually step in and try and support the Palestinians.
But they tried back them already. Like,
back in the
exactly. They tried in the 60s, and Israel was
5 or 6 day war.
Yeah, exactly. Israel would win. But it's like, at this point now, especially because the West are basically co-signing it, and the way the West are portraying it in the media, it's like, I remember even seeing something. I can't remember what. It's like a really popular like British news thingy where people call in and stuff. Like, someone was like, oh, my 11-year-old daughter is scared to go to sleep because they're scared that Hamas are gonna come and rape her in the middle of the night. Like, bro, like,
what?
Why, like, what? And this is what the media has caused. Exactly.
What's Hamas doing coming to the UK to rape?
This is how the media has managed to, Western media has managed to frame it to the people. People are seeing Israel as the good guys and Hamas as the bad guys. They're conflating Hamas and Palestinians as one. You know what I mean? If you support Palestinians, you support Hamas as one. No, that's not the case. There's innocent Palestinians that are dying every day. And definitely,
you just want them to die.
Definitely some of the stuff that I'm seeing on social media, it's like, I can't even ignore it when I see it. Like, I can't ever become like desensitized to that stuff, because that's real people who are like losing like their family members. Like I remember seeing something, a whole generation of Palestinians was wiped out, like a family. Like, it was a whole family picture that was shown, about like 20 people in the picture, and obviously with one of the latest strikes that the Israeli government did, that whole bloodline is wiped out. That's so crazy.
Yeah, so like, I think to answer the question, does violence justify violence? I feel like it's a weird one, because at the end of the day, obviously you don't ever want to legitimize violence and be like, yeah, it's okay. Like Hamas, you know, launching an attack the way they did in October wasn't right. But I just think, what do you expect when people have been trying to fight for their freedom for decades and they're not being heard? what do you want? I don't know. I don't know what else.
Yeah.
What else they can do?
You know, taking out the context here of Hamas and Israel, and just speaking from a general stage on the international stage, like international relations stage, just violence against violence. Yeah. Like I come from having studied politics, like realism. I understand it because at the international relations stage, everybody has like access to weapons of mass destruction. So at the end of the day, that's how wars are like. You kind of have to fight wars if things can't be done amicably. Because things like, at the end of the day, if you're one country might want something and the other country's going to want something and you both can't agree. So at the end of the day, war's going to happen. But in this case, it's not an equal playing field. Like in the context of Hamas and Israel, it's not an equal playing field. It's one literally massive state. That's what you would call it, a state, because at the end of the day, but some people will say that Israel's not even a real state. That's what Hamas would say. Israel's not a real state. It's literally the British that created it. But it's one state who has access to flipping drones and has access to rockets and stuff like that against literally a small group of people who are just trying to fight for their rights. Like, that's not an equal playing field. So in this case, like, and especially Hamas did one attack. And think about how long Israel have been doing their attacks for, since October the 7th. I wish I had like the real stats, like how much drone strikes they've done and shit. Like it's just been so constant from Israel, just killing innocent Palestinians. Like in this case, no, violence is a bigger violence. I feel like the Israeli government were waiting for this. They were waiting for Hamas to do something on the scale that they did it, just so they can start their ethnic cleansing.
No, definitely. I don't know, man. It's yeah. I don't know. Does violence justify violence? Sometimes I feel like it does. It does, man.
Sometimes
like, I'm a radical in that sense. Like, you know, I feel like, I don't know. So if you're not listening to a group of people, like it's sort of similar to like the whole BLM thing. Like I've always been of the stance that like, you know those people that were like, oh yeah, like why are people, all the BLM activists or, you know, protesters going out on the street and looting and da. Obviously, yeah, I understand if you're looting like, you know, black-owned businesses, it sort of defeats the point that you're trying to make. Yeah. But I just feel like sometimes people need to be loud in order to be listened to. Yeah. And if being loud means being destructive, then
so be it for a tooth.
Yeah.
But in this point, it's not even an eye for an eye.
It's not like, an eye for an eye.
Hamas have taken Israel's eye, and Israel have just slaughtered the whole body of Palestinians. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not even the same.
Like the backlash is not proportionate to the attack. And if we're even talking about the attack, okay, cool, Hamas attacked on the 7th of October, right? But Israel have been oppressing them anyways.
Exactly.
So it's like there's no proportionality in this whole situation.
And they're saying, oh, we think that Hamas individuals are in Gaza. Let's just bomb the whole of Gaza. That's what they're doing. Like, and there's so many innocent civilians who live in Gaza. So at that point, you have to take it away from it just being a Hamas and Israel thing. And then Israel and just trying to ethnic cleanse.
No, definitely. But what's it? I also want us to talk about the you know, hair shop situation. Yeah. Obviously, I feel like, you know, for those of you that don't know, just to summarise what happened, basically there was a lady, a black lady in the UK that went into a hair shop in Peckham, and she was demanding a refund for a product. And obviously, I don't know if you guys know, but in these hair shops, they don't really give refunds like that. So I think, you know, the hair shop owner was like, no, and she was insisting, and he said no. So she literally just took some items off the shelf and ran off with items.
We tried to run off.
Yeah, exactly.
She tried to run off. And we don't know whether the items that she tried to take were even equal to the items that she wanted to get refunded. I mean, I saw her coming with a box, and I saw her try to leave with weave and stuff. I don't know if that's equal, but that's a different story. Yeah,
no, literally. So it's like, yeah, so she tried to run off. Obviously, the boss man grabbed her, and then she started hitting him with a basket. Yeah. And he then, you know, proceeded to choke her. This situation received a lot of backlash. Yeah. People started protesting in Peckham, obviously against the hair shop owner, saying that he should have his hair shop closed, and, you know, black women shouldn't shop at his shop anymore, because obviously his shop is mainly, you know, selling products that black women buy. Yep. It's black women's hair products. So yeah, we see a lot of backlash, but I feel like there was just so much more to the situation than what was being presented, like the narrative in the black community. I think it was a lot more complex than that. Like, yes, of course, the guy should not have manhandled a woman like that, like, you know, choking a woman, choking any person, full stop.
Yeah, he's wrong for that. He definitely stepped over a line by doing that.
It's definitely wrong. And he was a big guy.
That was a big man. That was a big, bro, like, both his hands, like, and you can see like the anger and the way he was squeezing. That was mad.
Nah, he needs to be locked up.
He needs to be locked up.
He's an animal.
He needs to be locked up.
But in saying that, I feel like what was missing from the conversation was pointing out what the woman did wrong too. And I feel like sometimes it's okay to acknowledge that one person was wrong for doing something, while still also acknowledging that the other person was wrong for doing it.
First.
And missing out either means you're not really analysing the situation in a just way, I feel like. And I feel like people aren't really acknowledging the fact that the woman stole. And the woman stole from the guy's shop.
Like, you know what it is, yeah? Like, I understand why she would have been angry if she's not getting refunded, because at the end of the day, she's brought the product back, she didn't like it, it's a cost of living crisis, everybody wants their money back and stuff like that. But for her to, I feel like at that point, you kind of just have to hold the L. Like, but you know what it is? Like, some people did bring up an interesting point about whether that is illegal or not. And I don't know, like, I don't really know whether it's legal for shops to do that or not. But I know at that point she wasn't thinking about whether it was legal or not. She was just pissed off at the fact that she wasn't getting her money back.
Like,
so she tried to take stuff off the shelf, which I would just assume is probably not equal to what she wanted refunded. And she's tried to leave. Like, I remember seeing the video. She's tried to leave now. The guy's just in the way. He's like basically holding her back. He's just in the way. And she initiated the first act of aggression. He took her overboard, but she initiated the first act of aggression with that basket, the way she was hitting them with the basket. And I mean, that's gonna hurt. Like, she's hitting them with a basket. But obviously, from that point, he's done the most. Like, he's gonna strangle her. Like, he's gonna move her like basically half the way down the shop with his hands around her neck, which he's taking the piss for doing that.
No, definitely.
He's wrong for that. But I think even in the aftermath of it, yeah, like, it became a very racial topic. You know what I mean? Whether like it was right or wrong to become a racial topic, because some people might ask, like, if it was a white woman, would he have reacted like that? But if it was a white woman, would the anger, like, would you have been that angry about that? But I mean, another important question is, I mean, maybe if it was a white woman, who knows? That could have made like national news, like, you know, you never know. So I think people were protesting, and I think it was coming from a good place, because it's like, we're seeing a black woman get manhandled by an Asian man, and obviously that's going to be triggering for a lot of black people, and I guess rightfully so, because like nobody's going to see that, and basically people wanted to ride that for black women, and I genuinely respect that. But I don't know, I feel like in this case, whether it should be made something racial, I don't know.
I just don't know if there was. It's such a complex one, because I feel like people were thinking of their own lived experience when using hair shops. Like, I feel like as black women, we use these hair shops, and a lot of the time we're not treated in the best way. Like, you know, a lot of time you're followed around the hair shops, you're over policed. So I feel like the situation reminded people of how they feel in hair shops, over surveilled basically, over policed. And hence why a lot of black women and men rode out in Peckham and showed support and showed solidarity on the Bible. You're not going to treat us like this, which is good, fair enough. But I just think that it wasn't an objectively racialized situation. I don't know if there was enough evidence to say that she was treated this way because of her race for people to make it a sort of racial protest. Like, I feel like, yes, we can suspect and we can speculate that, oh, you know, if she was not a black woman, would he have manhandled her the same way? Maybe there's all of these ideas about, you know, black women being treated like men almost, and being like
heavy-handed.
Treating black women as if like I don't know. I feel like black women are often treated as if we're not feminine. Like, I feel like our femininity is often overlooked, like even down to like stuff like the healthcare, for example, like the fact that we're 4 to 5 times more likely to die than white women, you know.
Because you guys are seen as like superhuman and stuff.
Exactly, like doctors wouldn't take your concerns in the same way. Like, if you're saying you're in pain, they don't listen to you the same way. They don't have the same empathy and sympathy for you as they do a non-black woman, and especially a white woman. So that is a given. That's a factual thing. But in this case, is it a thing where like we can definitely say that he treated her that way because she's a black woman? We can think that, and maybe he did, but I don't know if we can assert it, and I don't know if it was a fact. There wasn't enough evidence to say that.
Sure.
I don't know if it warranted protesting, especially because she was still in the wrong as well. Like, theft is wrong at the end of the day.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like he saw a shoplifter. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, he actually just saw a shoplifter.
He didn't see anything else.
He didn't see race. He didn't see a black, white, male, female. He saw somebody that was trying to take food off his plate. Like as we said, it was a cost of living crisis, bro. He sees somebody that's trying to steal from him. He definitely took it overboard. Like I'm definitely not on the shop owner's side or whatever he was doing, but I mean, yeah, like, I don't know if it was enough to make it a racial situation. The way people rolled out for her, and till this day, like people are still protesting out there. He tried to like rename the shop to Kings and Queens and stuff like that. People are letting fireworks off in the shop. People are standing out there. I see this on like a daily basis. I saw the protest before I even knew what happened. I'm walking through Peckham one day. I've seen bare people out of the shop. What the fuck's going on, bro? So like people are still riding out for this, and I mean. Even the stuff that he said, like in the aftermath, of saying, these people will still come back and buy from my shop. Like, what do you mean by these people? You know what I mean? So
these like racially, I don't know, racially like tinged language. I don't know what to call it, but like we could argue that like who's these people?
Exactly. What is that?
But then it's also weird because man was saying, oh yeah, my family been eating bread because his shop was closed for like his shop opened up after like a month basically, and obviously we named it Kings and Queens. But then they say, oh, my family eating bread. So it's like he's trying to garner sympathy, but he's also saying, I've got loads of businesses. These people will always shop out of business. So it's like, are you comfortable with your shop being closed, or are you not? Are you in need, or are you not? Like, what's your narrative, bro? And on top of that, reopening the shop and saying you're Kings and Queens, it's like, it's such a PR stuff.
It's taking a piss. Like, he's actually he's just taking a piss, man.
Like, oh, it's so tokenistic. Like, oh, if I couldn't be a Kings and Queens, maybe these people will just be happy and shut up. Like, what's we are Kings and Queens, bro? It's so gimmicky.
I rate the marketing though slightly. Like he tried to market.
I don't rate it. Whoever told him to do that is bullshit because we can see through it. Like we can see through. Oh yeah, the Negroes will shut up. Yeah, the Kings and Queens. Like, they should keep them quiet. Oh yeah, we're Kings and Queens. That's really gonna like I don't know. It's such a gimmicky thing to do. Like I don't know. Like it was just such a PR play sort of thing. But in terms of that topic, I don't know. I think it was such a complex one. I think there wasn't enough acknowledgement of what the woman did that was wrong. The guy was in the wrong. No one's justifying. He was in the wrong. They were both in the wrong. They were both in the wrong.
I'll be honest. Yeah, there's no right or wrong.
They were both in the wrong, innit? Personally, I still think the guy was more in the wrong because violence. Like, obviously, the woman was hitting with a basket, but I just think as a man to lay your hands on a woman, especially that's given the size difference, the power
you didn't have to do that.
To choke someone is very dangerous. And obviously, the woman got arrested in the end as well. So obviously, she was shoplifting. It was a complex one, but I just think that situation reminded me of the fact that like I feel like sometimes as black people in our community, like we are so quick to jump on the bandwagon rather than like really analyze the situation. I'm not saying people shouldn't have protested, but it was more so what I've seen online. Like there was no mention of her being being a shoplifter. No mention of it.
There's no accountability.
Yeah, there's no accountability. At the end of the day, you have to explain how they got there. You know.
But I get it though, because at the end of the day, like who else is looking out for black people besides black people? You know what I mean? So it's like we're seeing online that black women's getting stronger by an Asian man and a black hair shop that's run by Asian people. Like people are gonna feel that way. It's going down to that primal instinct of like wanting to take care of your own, basically. You know what I mean? So I understand where it came from, like just seeing it, especially because of the country we live in and stuff like that. Like living in London, like the racial tensions are always there, like they're always in the background. So I understood why people were so quick to be like, okay, yeah, cool, let's protect this black woman, let's ride out for her. But I mean, I don't feel like this was the hill to die on.
In terms of the situation of, you know, to do with the black woman, the black man, like, does violence beget violence? Obviously, no. Like, no,
not at all.
I think the Israel-Palestine one, obviously, because it's larger scale and it's more, the power dynamics are even madder. I think, you know, cool. But like the guy choking the woman, no. Unacceptable.
Protect black women.
Yeah, protect black women at the end of the day. Like whether or not she was a shoplifter, you can't
do that.
You can't be choking a woman,
bro. Man grabbed her neck like it was American football. I started running with her neck. Like, what the fuck? Word. Nah, protect black women. If you take anything away from this episode, free Palestine, protect black women.
That's all we have to say, guys.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, no, thank you guys for watching. Like, you know, we appreciate it. It's our first episode, and we hope that you guys tune in for more. Like, subscribe, comment, let us know your thoughts under the video.
Show some love.
Yeah, show some love. Yeah, so I've been Estelle.
I've been Adrian.
I've been IK.
Thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye.